welcome to today's meeting, a special council meeting, Wednesday the 26th of October. Live streaming. As the meeting chair, I give my consent for this open council meeting to be streamed live, recorded and published online in accordance with council's live streaming policy and governance rules. The chair and or the CEO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory or potentially inappropriate to be published. Virtual meeting statement. Section 394 of the Local Government Act 2020 allows council meeting attendance via electronic means. We haven't got to the part where we ask people to turn their mobile phones off or down, so we'll just jump to that. The requirement of the meeting being open to the public is satisfied by the meeting being streamed live to council's internet. In the event of technical issues with a live stream, the meeting will be adjourned. Council must be able to be seen and heard to be considered present at the meeting. Now we get to mobile telephone reminder. Please turn off all mobile telephones. In the case of an emergency, please advise the chair and switch to silent mode. Basco Shire Council acknowledge the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and waters and pays respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and law. Basco Shire Council celebrates the opportunity to embrace and empower the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island communities in their diversity. Basco Shire Council will create opportunities for future recognition and respectful partnerships that will honour the traditional owners and custodians and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I call on Councillor Holstead to read the councillor statement, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. All members of this council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item on this agenda based on the individual merits of each item without bias or prejudice, by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. Any councillor having a conflict of interest in an item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate or vote on the issue. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Holstead, present, and apologies. We are assuming an apology from Councillor Kent because it did notify us that he may have had connection troubles this morning. There are no declarations of interest. I now call on Mr Mack to introduce the annual report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Council is required to prepare an annual report to meet the requirements of the Local Government Act 2020, and the purpose of this report is to present the 2021-2022 annual report. The annual report highlights the achievements of Council, including a snapshot of Council's operations, and publicly reports on the achievement of the Council plan. The Victorian Auditor General's Office has audited Council's financial report and performance statements and advised that it presents fairly in all material respects with the relevant financial and performance reporting requirements. It is required under the Local Government Act that the Mayor presents the annual report at a Council meeting within 4 months of the end of the financial year. The distributed report meets the requirements of the Local Government Act, and I recommend the 2021-2022 annual report for you to present to Council for endorsement.
Thank you, Mr Mack. And given the requirement of the Local Government Act, I intend to take the exception of moving the report. Is there a seconder? Councillor Holstead. And so I will speak to that. I'm pleased to share with the Council some highlights from the 2021-22 annual report, including key actions towards the achievement of the Council Plan 2021 to 2025. Council delivered a record capital works program, completing 118 projects valued at $34.9 million. This included a number of significant intergenerational projects, such as the construction of the Cowes Cultural and Community Centre, works to renew and upgrade a number of marine assets, construction of the Cowes East foreshore rock revetment wall, and beach access and delivery of multiple recreational projects and significant lighting improvements in Cowes, Inverloch and Daleston. Significant progress milestones were met for the planning of the Bass Coast Dinosaurs Trail, with a master plan adopted, land purchased and a $500,000 funding boost from the state government. Basco's led the way in the local government sector with our landmark gender equality improvements, including removing the difference between primary and secondary carers, which means that all parents, mothers, fathers and or same-sex partners are now entitled to the same amount of paid parental leave. There is a clear link between gender equity and a reduction in the impact of family violence, and this is one way that Council is actively working to reduce domestic violence in our community. Council has also made progress addressing the lack of affordable housing in our community. We commenced the development of a social and affordable housing strategy and worked with Community Housing Limited to identify potential locations for affordable housing. For the third year in a row, Bass Coast has topped the state for recycling and diversion from landfill. Bass Coast was nearly 10% higher than the next local government area in the state this year. Council's biodiversity program saw the establishment of 268,000 new Indigenous plants and protected an additional 25 hectares of bushland. We made significant progress towards the achievement of the target of net zero emissions by 2030 through successful grant applications for the delivery of more electric vehicle charging stations, delivery of a community battery and increased solar on council buildings. Looking to the future, Council delivered the Wonthaggi Opportunity Unlock campaign, linking multiple projects to unlock Wonthaggi's full potential as Victorian Regional Centre. It aligns with the objectives of key state and federal planning strategies relating to regional regeneration, urban decentralisation, population growth, investment and visitor attraction. 2021-22 was also a big year for significant strategic policies, with Council adopting the 20-year community vision, long-term financial plan, health and wellbeing plan and workforce plan. Overall, Council delivered 23 of its 26 Council plan actions, with significant progress made towards the achievement of the remaining 3 actions. Council also achieved 20 of 29 service performance indicators. 2021-22 was a year of significant achievements for Council, and I look forward to leading Council as we build on those achievements. Thank you, and I call on Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just from a different perspective, I'd like to congratulate industry and small business for their resilience over what's been some of the toughest years in business. Bass Coast holds a positive gross regional product figure of over 1.7 billion. Our community has supported Council by continuing to engage over the past 12 months, with special mention to those who volunteered their time for deliberative engagement in the collation of the community vision, Council plan and long-term financial plan, all crucial documents for the future of Bass Coast. There are some incredible intergenerational projects for residents to look forward to, with officers outdoing themselves in the advocacy space. It has been a year of big dreams coming to fruition and work now visible on the ground. Council's planning department has outperformed itself with an almost 20% improvement on planning applications being decided within the required time frame. It is disappointing to note that Council plan service performance indicators lists community satisfaction with Council decisions has not been achieved and has dropped by 4 points. Even though the local government sector universally experienced a downward trend, Council should take this matter seriously and work to improve this figure. I encourage residents to have a read of the annual report to understand just how far and wide their rate dollars spread. The report is well written, gives an overview of how Council works and is easy to understand. The revenue breakdown is particularly interesting on page 69 and shows councils cannot rely on rates alone. In the last 12 months, the community themselves have contributed 12.35% toward the delivery of infrastructure, and this is widely achieved through the hard work of volunteers who deserve a big thank you for their continued commitment to their communities. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak to the report? Councillor Rooks.
Thank you, Mayor Whelan. And yeah, I agree there's plenty of good news coming out of this annual report. I think what I wanted to talk about a little bit was just the support for women that we provide both within this organisation and also within the community. We have, in the report, it shows that we have approximately equal numbers, full-time equivalent of males to females. What we also recognise in the report is that a lot of the positions are banded between 1 to 8, with 8 being the higher and 1 being the lower. And in the higher end bands from 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, we have more women in full-time equivalent positions than men. So that shows where we are giving women every opportunity and they're taking up those opportunities within our business, which is fantastic. Notwithstanding that, men still earn 15% higher than women on average within our business. And the predominant reason for that, the main reason for that is because all women are working part-time and so they just take home less money. But we do have initiatives within the organisation to try to counteract that. As Mayor Whelan already mentioned, we offer parental leave to both the primary or secondary carer. We also offer super for the full period of the year if people are on paternity leave, and we provide flexible work hours for all positions. And as Mayor Whelan suggested, all these things help provide or reduce the power imbalance in homes because the financial income is more equal between the family, and therefore they lead to reduction in family violence. So they're fantastic initiatives we're doing. And then I just want to mention externally what we also do for the community to support women. We have equal prize money now for events that are held within the Bass Coast Shire. We've done some research on place naming and recognise that there's too many, I guess there's too few names out there where we recognise women. And so we need to start recognising the contribution that women have made in the history of our community and recognise that with names. And an example of that is Olive Justice Place, which has recently been formally named. And of course, this wasn't in the financial year, but the work still goes on. We recently had the Women's Leading Local Forum, which was a great initiative to support and provide networking opportunities for women in our local community. So I'm very proud of all those initiatives.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Any other councillor wish to speak to the report? Councillor Lark.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I acknowledge that the 2022 annual report appears to be in accordance with the Local Government Act, accounting and audit standards. That said, for council performance, all paths or activities lead to the centre of things. This was literally true in the days of the Roman Empire, when all the empire's roads radiated out of the capital city, Rome. For council, all roads lead to increased borrowings, which is evident in the report being tabled today and driven by ongoing underlying operating deficits through lack of reform of the operating budget, limiting council's capability to fund capital projects from its own internal sources, outmoded capital expenditure model and projects carried forward with the underlying risk of time and cost overruns and unfunded reserves, all of which result in escalating debt levels and higher interest commitments. This debt increase and every extra dollar of interest in times of increasing interest rates will also impact council's future capability to effectively deliver essential services and infrastructure projects, and will adversely impact our residents and ratepayers' cost of living standards through increases in rates, fees and charges. In summary, in my view, management of council's finances is appreciably less than optimal and requires an urgent and significant overhaul. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lark. Any other councillor wish to speak to the report? Councillor Lasserve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to congratulate the officers and yourself as Mayor for delivering this annual report. And it shows that over many years, the community have been requesting more capital works, more programs in their communities that benefit those that are in need. It's been approved by the Auditor General. We're submitting our report on time, and I really congratulate everybody that's involved. I think that the Capital Works program is the biggest we've ever been able to deliver, and I think that needs to be commended. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the team.
Thank you, Councillor Lasserve. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, we'll put the report. Those in favour? Against? That's carried. Now, The meeting was called today, the special meeting was called specifically for the purpose of passing the annual report, which we've now just done. So thank you, councillors. Before we close, I'd like to note that Councillor Vasari will be stepping away from council as after this meeting, and I take the opportunity also of acknowledging that in the last month he was awarded the certificate from the Municipal Association Victoria as Mayor Emeritus, and congratulate him for his outstanding contribution in as his service here on Bass Coast Council. Recognise this is his last meeting. I take the opportunity to wish him well in the forthcoming election and all of the candidates, and we will deal more closely with one of them following that result. So thanks very much for that. The next council meeting will be held on the 16th of November 2022 in the Bass Coast Civic Centre Council Chamber, Baillieu Street East, Wonthaggi, commencing at 1 p.m. Thank you for watching the live stream of Council's meeting. The meeting is now closed.